Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas with you, speaking with Michelle Humble and Sarah Kropp from Tikva. And is it Hands of Hope?
Hands of Hope, yes.
And okay, so we're finding out exactly what these children do. My goodness, you keep them busy.
We do.
Not a lot of time to get into trouble, or is there? Tell me about
they manage it.
Tell me some of the challenges that you face with Tikva.
There are many challenges, and it's probably quite tempting for people who come in never having experienced this before to say that they're bad kids, because the behavior is probably different than they've experienced. There's a lot of noise. Talking is something that is culturally necessary for those in poverty. Their personality is their biggest resource, and so their personalities are always at competition for whose can be the loudest and the best. That is something that we have gotten used to, and it's just a part of the culture at Tikva. But for those who are new, it might be overwhelming at first. But yeah, they of course manage to challenge behaviorally, but it's something that is growing for them and us. We have rules at Tikva just like they would anywhere else, and consequences. But the thing that we've been working on is pointing out the positive. It's very easy to point out something that a student is doing wrong. It's not as easy to point out those positive issues. And so when you do that, it's contagious. The positive becomes the more prevalent behavior. And so we are really making great efforts to reward positive behavior. So I post on Instagram all the time. I have pockets full of tickets. Tickets are what we give for positive behavior. And they're everywhere. And when a student gets a ticket, they enter into a drawing at the end of the day, and then they can win prizes for good behavior. And we find that's a way better strategy than constantly disciplining. And so they love to try to be good and to make good choices so that they can get those tickets.
They do.
Pretty awesome. Do you see a difference, since you do work closely with the schools, are they seeing a difference in grades and behavior in the classroom?
Yes, they do. That's what's been awesome to watch. We track their grades and their behavior. Our attendance list is pretty thick because we track a lot of different things. But yeah, they're very excited about that. I think that's why they recommend and refer us a lot of students. It's been kind of fun to watch that grow also as far as our relationship with them and the kids changing. Plus, we do partner with Encompass counselors. We have them on site 1 or 2 days a week. That way, if some of our students are dealing with some trauma or just some extra behavior problems at school, when they come to Tikva, they can kind of get some extra help. So that's been a real blessing, too, having them available.
You've told us a little bit about the kids themselves. We know they're loud.
They're sweet.
Yes. Tell us more about the kids.
The kids are incredible. It's very hard as a team leader to not pick a favorite because they always want to be your favorite, which is something really special. The kids are eager to please. They're also just they're really wanting that attention. When you're around a child as an adult, your instinct is to obviously give a child their attention, especially if they're demanding it. But our students aren't used to that. They're not used to people giving them positive attention and frequently. And so when we have adults in the room, especially our younger kids, it's just like a Christmas gift. They hang on the adults. They want to be near them. They want to have their attention. They want to read to them. They want to snuggle. It is just contagious. And so they're the sweetest kids you'll ever meet. Even if the behavior is not what you're used to, it's something that's just exciting to get to know them. I just had 2 students move districts, which were very excited for them because they get a cool experience by going to a new school. And, mom is excited to move to a different neighborhood and start new. But I'm going to miss them so much. And so when that happens, we actually had a party. We had cupcakes and gave them some cards and a gift card to start at their new place. And so we're excited for them, but sad all at the same time.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's good.
It is.
Now, there are some days I know that you have planned, Sarah, that go a little bit outside the box. I know you've done a field trip at some colleges and universities, trying to inspire and give them some career goals. Can you talk about those? What takes place then?
Absolutely. We've been to Malone. I think we actually have been to Walsh as well. And it's so cool because they invite us in and we take all of our students. We used to just take older students to motivate, but the younger ones, when we pulled out of the parking lot last year from Malone, a third grader said, "I can't wait to go to college, Miss Sarah."
Wow.
And we do have a student that's been through our program. She's a senior at McKinley now, and she's worked for us a couple times during the summer, and she just got accepted to Ohio State.
Wow.
So we're very excited for her. It's fun to be a part of the journey because to see those seeds planted, you just never know where it's going to land, but we've been pretty excited.
What kinds of things did they get to do on the college campus? It's just hilarious to kind of think about. So tell us what reality looked like.
They, I believe, got to experience part of the nursing program last year. So they got to see the dummies and all of those cool things that they get to work on. I think they also took a trip to the zoology department. Colleges are great. They really try to expose our kids to as many different majors and job opportunities as possible, things they never knew existed, because there's not too many things they're exposed to career-wise. And so that in and of itself is a great experience for them. And knowing what it's like to live on a campus. You get to live here is a lot of the questions. And
it's true.
It's your own bathroom, or you get to share that bathroom.
Yeah.
And, so that is an incredible experience for them.
Yeah, and all that food.
Yeah,
Yes.
cafeteria. You can come here whenever.
That was probably the most positive part.
I'm sure that'd be very popular. So fun. Well, you mentioned the student getting accepted to Ohio State. That's awesome. I'm sure you've got other success stories. You mentioned that some just absolutely grip your heart. We've got a little bit of time. Tell us a little bit about some of the ones who really come to mind right now and success stories through TIKVA.
I have a student who it's been an uphill battle for her. She's had some issues that she's needed to get counseling for behaviorally, and it's just been really great to see her go from the beginning of the year being hardly able to control herself and often having to take days where she just couldn't come and couldn't participate, to now where she's been on the last 3 field trips, which for us field trips, like I mentioned, were incentive, so you don't go unless you've earned them. She's been on the last 3. She wrote me a note the other day that said, "I love God and God loves me and he loves the homeless," because we were going to visit a homeless shelter for a field trip. And so she's really starting to get it. Chapel used to be her worst time, and it's slowly becoming one of her best times because she loves to answer questions and to learn. And so it's really great to watch that transition. She's a 4th grader, which means she still has much time left in our program. And I'm hoping that if she continues at this pace, that she will be another story like the one going to Ohio State.
Let me stop you there. It's got to be interesting taking a group of students who have been considered they're at risk because of the poverty level in which they live to a homeless shelter. Tell me about that.
That was an incredible experience. Our site director, Carissa, is an incredible woman who realized that would be an incredible experience for our kids. They had a lot of questions. Though their situation is hard, they learned that there are many situations that are harder. And some of our students have lived in a homeless shelter, which was another interesting experience. We actually took them to the one in Akron as opposed to the one in Canton so that it wouldn't harm anybody who had maybe lived in this one. And so they really enjoyed the experience. They made blankets for the residents and donated some hygiene products that we had left over from one of our drives. And they loved to get to see not just the building, but how their donations would be useful for someone in need. And for a lot of them, it was a life-changing experience.
That is something that we notice when we go to a poverty-stricken area, how giving the people are.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And what that does to a person to be able to give.
It's that dignity piece again. It means that even though their situation is hard, it's not below helping somebody else.
And what a good thing to learn, to give from our need. That's something we all need to learn, to give from our need. And whatever you have in your hand, share it. It's a whole different mentality, isn't it, than what else can I get? Okay, a couple other things really struck me. You said that you did a whole topic on self-control. Now, all the time in the schools, we're hearing about building their self-esteem, and certainly the giving part and the dignity plays into that. But when you're trying to build a person's self-esteem and yet teach them self-control at the same time, how did you handle that balancing act?
We timed self-control just right because it was coming back from a break where they've had not much structure. They've been home. And so it was actually probably the bigger need rather than self-esteem in that moment because they just needed to remember boundaries and what it means to live within those. And so each week they had a different topic. So, for example, it was select your words carefully or stop and think about what you will do, control your temper. And so they were really practical things for the kids.
Where do you get these topics from? What you're noticing needs to be addressed at the time?
We actually use a curriculum, so we can't take all of the credit. But 252 Basics by the Rethink Group is incredible, and it's awesome. It's what we've been using since the start, and we can't think of anything that would be more beneficial for our kids.
How do people get this curriculum? Because this might be something of interest to other people, not just those working in an after-school program.
I used it at my last church when I worked there, so that's how I came across it. But you can go online to rethinkgroup.org, I believe, or Orange is another word that they go by. But it's a great curriculum. It's internet-based, and so you can download whatever you need, and it's pretty reasonably priced. So they've actually been generous enough to donate much of our curriculum because they know we're a nonprofit, and so they're an awesome organization based out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Doing awesome stuff. Michelle Humble and Sarah Kropp from Tikva. And we've got about a minute left. Let's remind everybody we've got a big event coming up March 12th. Get out your calendars right now. We'll give you a second. Okay, now plug this in, March the 12th, and remind us what's happening.
Yes, it's flappers and fedoras. Dress the part if you'd like. It'll be a fun evening of gaming and silent auctions, and it's $75 a person. You can go on our website, www.tikva.org, to order your tickets, and we'll have dancing, photo booth, great food, and prizes. So please, please, please come out and join us.
Okay, and that's taking place at
La Pizzeria.
La Pizzeria. Just a nice venue as well.
It is.
And again, this money will go towards the meals or what, and school supplies? What kinds of things do you need when people donate? And do you also take tangible items?
We do occasionally take tangible items, but primarily the money is most helpful because as those needs arise, no matter what they are, we have the resources to get them.
Okay, you can go to tikva.org, is that right?
Yes.
And that's TIQVAH.org. Wow, Michelle, Sarah, thank you so much for being with us. And we also thank our sponsors today.
Yes.
And thank you for joining us on our community.